Okay, welcome to another exciting and thrilling episode of What the Fuck is Keek going to make in her hotel room today? So, boys and girls, I'm going to teach you about how to make clasps, closures, hooks, what the fuck ever, for your bracelets and necklaces that people can put on by themselves. One of them is going to be especially good for people who are left-handed. I'm going to show you 3, I think. And the tools that you will need at the bare minimum to accomplish these. Okay, I'm going to try to do this as fast as I can. There will be cussing, I'm sure. I literally have my phone propped on the drawer pull of a desk, and hopefully it doesn't move. If you can't see this, it's late. I've driven 7 hours and get over it. Okay, so first things first, you're going to need wire. Now, unless you just have a crap ton of money, you're probably going to be getting your wire from Hobby Lobby, Michael's, aka the devil, or online. There is a difference between the craft wires that you get in the stores. These don't say it on it because it was on the package, but you want to make sure that your wire for your clasps, if you're making clasps or earrings or anything that is going to have to withstand movement or hold weight, then you need to make sure that you are using wire that is has a copper core. So yes, this is silver colored. You can get gold colored, you can get copper colored, although I'm stupid for getting this because I'd rather just have raw copper wire, but a lot of people don't like the fact that it tarnishes, so they get this, but whatever. Anyway, so make sure that you are getting copper core wire, because most of the craft wires, especially the colored ones like the green and the pink, whatever, it has, they're made out of aluminum. And the thing that's going to be the most important about your clasps is you want to work harden the metal so that it holds its shape and doesn't bend, because otherwise one good yank, or if you're like me, you get shit stuck on a door handle and your clasp is just going to come right off, and there's all your work and it's all over the floor. So yeah, aluminum cannot be work hardened. It will stay soft until Christ comes, or whatever you believe in. I don't believe in anything, so I don't know. I'm from the South and we say shit. Anyway, copper core wire. If you want silver or whatever, or if you've got the money, get you some sterling silver wire or whatever. For clasps, I like to use 16 gauge. For those of you that have never worked with wire before, the lower the number, the thicker the wire. So 16 gauge wire, which is this, is going to be much thicker than 26 gauge wire, which is teensy. And this is 18 gauge. So this is the next step down. You can use 18 gauge, but I wouldn't use it on anything with like bigger beads or heavier beads or anything that has lots of charms. You can get away with 18 on a necklace that is lightweight. If you've got like a big heavy pendant on it, don't be using an 18 unless you double up. Use the 16. You could try a 14, but A, it's hard to find, and B, your fingers are going to break before you get it bent. So, anyway, we're going to use 16 gauge wire. The tools that I'm going to use, you can do one or the other. So here, these are called bail making pliers, and each one of these little round rods is a different size. I want to say it's like 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 5 millimeter, 7 millimeter, and 9 millimeter. I don't know. Use these if you are OCD and you want your loops to be the same size. I use these because I'm too lazy to pay attention. Otherwise, you can totally use round nose pliers. And what a lot of people do is they will take and mark with a Sharpie on the pliers, why are words hard? Which portion of the pliers makes the diameter of loop that they enjoy. You can use either or, up to you. You're also going to need wire cutters. Make sure you get flush cut wire cutters, because when you flush cut, you will have a flat end, or mostly flat, and less chance of scratching somebody. And then you can either get a pair of, these are tweezer nose pliers. I got them on Amazon. They are the Xuron brand. I'm not sponsored by shit, so whatevs. I just really like these because they are thin and they get into the tiny spots. Alternatively, you can just get a regular pair of chain nose pliers. Completely up to you. Yeah. So, okay. Also, I spoke about work hardening. I will not be doing that today because I am in a hotel room, and I'm sure that the management would frown upon me hammering metal. But this is the type of hammer that you would want, unless you are trying to motherfuck my brain. What is the word? Unless you were trying to hammer and leave purposeful marks, dimpling the metal. There's a word for that. I don't know. Words are hard. Anyway, this is a, on this side, it is a little harder, but this is a rubber ended, and therefore it won't mark the metal, which is really important with this type of wire, because while it's silver on the outside, it is copper core on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. And in fact, even these pliers, I usually have wrapped with a layer of painter's tape, but I don't have that with me. I personally don't care if there are marks on my wire. That's fucking rude, dude. Go away with your stupid sirens. Anyway, it just shows that it's handmade. Of course, I'm not a professional, and you can always tell mine are handmade, but whatever. Okay, on to the making of the clasps. I'm sure that was like 20 minutes of me running my fucking mouth. Okay. All right. So I'm going to teach you how to make an S hook clasp, which is going to be the one that's good for left-handers. I'm going to teach you how to make a simple shepherd's hook clasp. And then I'm going to teach you how to make the loop part that those hook into. Alternatively, you could use jump rings. However, jump rings are already open. And if you are getting jump rings from Amazon or the lobby of the Good Lord's Hobbies or any place like that, most of those jump rings are going to be shitty. Like these. I got this set off of Amazon. It's fine. These are fine for doing things like hanging charms off of bracelets, or making a extender chain, something like that, something simple. These are not what I would use if I was in a pinch and had to have a loop for a clasp. I would not be using these, and here's why. So these are generally made with nothing thicker than maybe 20 gauge wire. And you know, you're supposed to open up like a barn door. Well, once you open that, even when you close it, there's still a chance that it could tug and tug apart. If you are going to use a jump ring for a hook, I recommend you getting these fat mamma jammas, because they are less likely to break open on you, and yeah. But it's so easy to make the other, so why don't we just do that? And shut your face hole, Christy. All right, so for the first one, we're going to do the shepherd hook. Now, wire always comes on these stupid fucking spools, which I understand. But you're gonna want it to be as straight as possible. And this is another way to start work hardening your wire, is by just running your fingers across it and moving it back and forth. That starts the process, because the more the wire moves and the more it heats up, A, the straighter it's going to be for you, which will make your life easier, and B, the less you have to hammer it at the end. Okay. I also don't have a ruler, but I do have a hotel card. And I know that these and business cards are usually around 2.5 to 3 inches. So for the simple shepherd's hook, you need about, I'd say 3.5, 4 inches. I would rather have too much wire and have to cut some off and give it as an offering to the wire goblin gods than I would to have it be too short and have to remake the damn thing over, because that sucks. Okay, so we're gonna say I'm gonna cut it right about here. So when you get your flush cutters, the part that is flat, that is what you want to go towards the cut that you're making. So, and then you want to come in and just cut. And please make sure you put your hand over, because I can promise you that that little piece of metal will end up in your foot. Ask me how I know. Okay, now, shut up, Christy, make the hooks. Okay. First thing you want to do is, I did not need that much. We're going to make the wire wrap shepherd's hook first. No. I don't know what we're going to do. I'm so tired. Okay. Yeah, let's just make the shepherd's hook. So take your tweezer or your chain nose, whatever you have. Get it right up to where you can see it, but you cannot feel it when you run your finger over the pliers. And you're just going to bend it away from you. And you're just trying to bend it in on itself. Like that. And then you're going to come in with that and you're going to squeeze. The trick here is to not try to go fast, because if you do, the wire is going to go burr, and you won't have a very good time. You're basically just squeezing it in on itself, like so. See? And then you're going to come in with your 6-step bail pliers. You're going to put that in flush. I hope you can see that. So you want it flush with these two. And depending on, I mean, you can make this any size you want. For bracelets, I usually use this one, but you can use whichever one you want. In fact, I'm going to use this one. So whichever one you're going to be going around, you want to make sure this little loopy thing is facing the opposite direction. All right. So you have it flush. It's facing the opposite direction. You're literally just going to take your thumb and you're going to bend it around until you get it right about there. Little Rock is popping off tonight. And then you can't get it out here and play. There you go. So now you have the beginnings of a little shepherd's hook. And then what you want to do is you want to come in right about here, just to straighten it up. So we are going to just put a bend like so, and now it looks like an actual shepherd's hook. Cute. Love it. Yeah, I totally didn't need this much. Well, to make it to where you can attach it to a bracelet, you need a loop on this end. In order to make a loop, and also it's important, unless you want, like for bracelets, I like when my hook lays flat. I don't like it to sit up like this. It gets on my fucking nerves. So in order to make it lay flat, your hoop needs to be laying in the same plane as your hook. So your loop should not be going this way. It should be going this way. I don't know if I'm making any fucking sense. Anyway, you want to leave yourself a few millimeters so that you can wrap the wire around after you make the loop. So come off a few millimeters off of the hook, and you're going to hold the wire, bend it away from you at a right angle, like that. And then you're going to take your bail making pliers. It's up to you which one you use. If you are making a small bracelet or you only have one thing to connect, then you can use the first step, the smallest ones. For a lot of my bracelets, I am usually putting more than one strand on the end, so I will use the second. And all you do to make a loop is you put in between. You want the one that you're going to wrap around, you want that to be on top, and you want to bring that wire flush up against, like you don't want this number right here, you want it to be flush up against this. And then you're going to just wrap towards yourself. And when you get to right about there, just turn your wrist like that. and bring it on around. What is happening with my life right now? This is not an exact science. All right, so now you've got, motherfuck, come off. Now you have a loop. So now we're going to wrap the wire. If this was anything smaller, I would just do it with my fingers, but I'm not gonna do that today. So take your chain nose. If you've got nylon pliers, these don't leave a mark, but shit also slips right out of them too. I really don't like those. So anyway, make sure that your scarf is actually straight. You want it to be like that. So it's gonna be like you're wrapping a scarf around a person, or as I like to say, choke a bitch out. All right, so hold tight in that hand, and we are going to wrap at least 3 times. So that's 1, 2, 3. Motherfucker. And you can make these as perfect as you want. I like the more organic look. You just want to make sure that you finish in the back. And then take the flat end and get up in there as close as you can and cut. Cover with your hand so it does not go flying. So you're left with a little piece that's sticking out right there. And that is where these fuckers come in handy. So you're just gonna take and gently squeeze that down until it is flush with the other loops. Now, sometimes even after you get it down there, it's going to be rough. So run your finger across it. That's actually not bad at all. If you do run your finger across it and you feel anything, like you feel anything snagging, you can take a nail file and run it over there. If you see that you've got some gaps, like there's one little gap right there, you can come in here and clean it up with these tweezers, pliers, just kind of squish and squish. All right, and there you have it. You have a wire wrapped shepherd's hook. Okay, now for the S hook, you will need, I'm gonna say, yeah, we need about a credit card's length. What's 6 centimeters? I don't know, metric's hard. But this is not one of those where you can cut off excess, so you either have to, I want to say 6 centimeters is the good. But for the sake of argument, let's just do a hotel key card's worth. All right, so flat side facing the wire that you're using and sneap. All right. And then we're gonna come in here and snip this end. All right, so to do an S wire, an S hook, you're gonna come in, we're going to do the same little doohickey that we did on our shepherd's hook on one end. So we're just going to fold that and come in and squeeze. Anaconda squeeze. Gentle. Gentle. Son of a bitch. Would you stay still? Okay. And then on, the only thing different is we're going to do both ends, but we did this one going this way, so we're going to do this one the opposite way. Okay? And you'll see why in a minute. All right. But you want them to be going in the same plane. Like, you don't want this one to be like this and then this one to be like going this way. That would be weird. Actually, I don't even know if that makes any sense or if it makes a difference. Anyway, bear with me. Like I said, super tired. Okay. So just bend it in and then squish. Gentle, gentle, son of a bitch. God damn it. Hate you. Motherfucker. Why do you have to be so difficult? And there we go. All that Christy smash. Anyway, you will do so much better than me. I promise you. Promise you. All right, now, so in similar fashion to the shepherd's hook, we're basically making a two-sided shepherd's hook. So you're going to take your pliers, your bail pliers, you're going to take one end and you're going to have this, whatever end this is, whichever way the bend is, you want the end of the bend facing towards you. And then you are going to wrap away from the bend. So wrap away from you, bend towards you. Dirty. So we're going to wrap like so. See, just like the shepherd's hook. Only this time, no, I've got too much wire. I know that I do, because this is going to be great big. Come off. So on the other side, we're going to put this flesh going away from us. We're going to be pushing away, but the bend is towards us. All right. And that is way too big. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's try this again. Because that's the general shape, but you really don't want 4,000 feet in between, because I mean that's just a gigantic clasp. So we're gonna do that again. Take 2 of Christy. Auntie Keek fucking up all the things. Okay. We're going to cut ouch, motherfuck. We're going to cut ourselves with the wire end. We're not going to do a whole thing. We're going to do maybe this much wire. I wish I had a ruler, but I don't. eggs. Sufficient. And I know this video is already 14 hours long, so I'm not going to worry about flush cutting the ends. Anyway, let's go ahead and bend. Fuck you. Let's bend the ends like we know we should. I hate you so much right now. Okay, I'm not going to worry about squishing them. So we've got that end going that way. We're going to do this end going the opposite way. I really hope this whole video is not just you looking at something that is not my hands doing this work, because that would suck. Okay, we're going to squish a little bit. Okay, and then squish you a little bit. You want to be squished, I promise you. Squish. Okay, so we've got our two squished ends. Now we're going to take these again. Remember, bend towards you and wrap away from you. So we're going to push this way, and then we're going to put the other side in here. Bend towards you, and you're going to push this way. And that was a little too small. I swear to you, there's a sweet spot, and once I get home with a ruler, I will find it. But you get the general idea, and you just want to make sure that these clasps are closer together. So you need this one. Is that thunder? Fuck my life. So you need this one to go closer to, and I'll show you mine a little bit. But you want something in between these two. You'll do better than me. Okay, the last one is going to be for those of you who like to do multiple strands but want them separated. And I call it the ball and peen closure. Dirty. Okay. So for the ball and peen closure, you are going to need, we're going to do the peen first. You're going to need a longer length of wire than we have used. So I would say somewhere around that looks sufficient. And then you are going to, you can use your bell making pliers or your round nose. But you just take, and you want it flush, or you can see it but not feel it. And you're going to wrap, I use the smallest one, so bend it like this until you get a loop like that. And then we're going to take our chain nose pliers, and you're going to basically just, actually I'm going to come in here and close that just a little bit, but we're going to make a spiral. So you're going to hold on to it and Oh my God, that went everywhere. That's gonna be fun. All right, anyway, we're going to make a little cinnamon roll. Why are you moving? So hold and move. Then hold and move. Then hold and bend. Son of a bitch. Hold and bend. Until you get something sort of resembling a half-cooked cinnamon roll. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Fuck off. Okay. You're going to come to the other side. Now, whereas with the S-hook, we were doing opposite directions, you're going to go the same direction. So if we're doing that, the one that you're wrapping on is going to be on the top like this. So you make sure that you've got them going the same direction. And you're going to bend to start your spiral. Make a loop. And then you're going to hold. You know what? It's easier to just do it with my fingers. No, it's not. God bless America. Okay, so hold, bend, hold, bend, hold, bend. And you want to go around the same amount of times. Hold, bend. That looks good. We'll do this one more time. Hold, bend. And then you've got two little spirally cinnamon rolls on the end of your thingy. Now, after this, you want to find the middle, and I like to use my round nose for this, so I hope you can see that. Backwards. So find the middle. You want your cinnamon rolls facing out because you're going to pull this way. If you were left-handed, you would do this the opposite direction. So guesstimate where the middle of this little fucker is, and then you are simply going to pull back. And hopefully, if your life is not an absolute joke like mine is right now, you will end up with something sort of similar to a peen. Oh, I'm a child. Okay, so you want to take your time, but you want to bring these two together as close as you can get them. And you really want to focus on the the tip, just the tip, just to see what it feels like. So you're gonna come in and do that. Oh, son of a... I swear to God, it's not this hard. Maybe these other pliers will be better. I don't know, let's see. I don't have multiple personalities, I swear to God. Okay. So just slow and steady wins the race. It's not a race. Your wires will twist up on you. that is actually just fine. If you, you can bring them apart. What I usually like to do is if they're going this way, then I'll do them this way, and then they'll pop back together. So once you have your ball and peen nice and stiff and together like this, you're going to make him droopy. No. So, nobody likes a droopy peen. That's not true. Okay. Shut up, Christy. You are going to... Which way am I doing this? Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're going to have your bell-making pliers. You're going to be... I mean, it's really personal preference, but usually I wrap around this next to the largest one. So put the balls in the vice grips. You want them flush. Take the peen, and you're going to push away from you. So push, 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 push. And then you have these, which is crooked as fuck. I haven't made one of these in a while. Okay. And then you're going to take either your chain nose or your needle nose, and you just want to kind of give it a little lip, a little bloop, like, why can't I grip this? Like this, just a little lip like that. And it's just to make it easier to hook. And you really want to make sure you get those, because you don't want a whole lot of space in between. And if I had had a hammer, if I had been able to hammer this, I would have hammered it before I bent it. So while the peen was still nice and hard and 22-year-old, not, I don't even know what age this is, but whatevs. Because then it wouldn't be so apt to split and move. So hammer your peen, ladies. Okay, so here's the hook, and I'm going to show you the clasp. It's going to be almost identical, except for no peen. Where's my wire? Right in front of me. Mother of God. Okay, so you won't need as much wire for the clasp. Okay, so now that I've jacked off the wire sufficiently, I'm gonna use, that looks good. All right, round nose. Okay, and we're gonna do just like we did. So we're going to start with a loop. Like that. And then you're going to make a little cinnamon rolls. So hold, bend, hold, bend, hold, bend. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other. And remember, we're going to go in the same direction, not opposite. So take the other side and loop. Hold, bend, hold, bend, hold. And I know I didn't show you these pliers earlier. You know, the more you work with wire and the more you work with pliers, you're going to get favorites. Just like with your kids or your boobs, you know, everybody has favorites. Just make sure your balls are symmetrical. Nobody likes asymmetrical balls. That doesn't even look like a ball. It looks like I don't even know what. I think I'm gonna do a little more bendy on him. Okay, so once your balls are mainly the same size, and we're gonna do the same thing that we did. I'm gonna use the next to the largest. Yes. And nope. Opposite day. So you want to make sure that the cinnamon rolls are facing that way, and you are going to be pulling that way. So get it in the middle-ish, like that, and then pull back until they meet. And then you can take your pliers and straighten anything that needs to be straightened. Bring them closer together. Anytime that you want something to stay straight, bring it past where it needs to be and then pull it back, and then it stays together. Instead of just sitting there forcing it, bring it past it, and then same way with jump rings actually. When you're doing the gate, when you're bringing it closed, bring it back farther than you need it and then put it in. I don't know why it works, but it does. Wire is weird. Anyway, so here's your clasp. So this is the way this works. Like that. And then you can take your multiple strands and you can put jump rings through here. And this is a pretty strong one too. You could probably get away with using 18 gauge, especially since the clasp is doubled up. You just want to make sure that this is as close as you can get it to the balls, so that you can still hook it, but that it won't, you know, come off so easily. So yeah, you can hang charms from these two. You can hang charms from there. So I think I've got one last thing I need to show you, and that is going to be the hook for this. Now, like I said, you could use, if you're in a pinch, you could use a jump ring for this, totally. So I would use one of these big fat jump rings. You can use that. But then you're gonna have to have another jump ring or whatever, your beading string or whatever. So what I like to do is to make sort of a wire wrapped loopy thing like that deal. You don't need a lot of wire for this one. Just gonna come in, straighten some. We're going to snip. And then, okay, the first thing we're gonna do is make the big loop. So you want to find a point somewhere around 3/4 of the way in, and I'm going to be wrapping around the next to the biggest loop. Yeah, so you're basically just going to be, I need it facing me. You're just going to be wrapping it around, and then you want it to overlap and go straight. So choke a bitch out is what you're doing. Okay, and then you need something to wrap. So what I do, I hope you can see this, is I take my needle nose or tweezer nose, whatever the fuck they're called, and I will get it as close to that other loop as I can, and then I will just bend that wire straight like that. And then I will take and wrap, and it doesn't really matter how many wraps you get out of this one, because you're going to be wrapping again when we get to the other end. And that's a horrible, horrible wrap. I'm so tired. Okay, let's do this again. Son of a motherfucking bitch. Yeah, don't do that. That's horrible. Bleh. Actually, my fingers are really tired, so I'm going to show you with 18 gauge because it's a little easier to work with. Combination of driving all day for the past 2 days, plus the rampant heat that we have here in the South has not been kind. Okay. Why am I picking those up? Okay, so you're going to about maybe 2/3 of the way. I'm going to wrap around like that and like that until they're mostly straight. And you really want to keep that circle shape, so don't fuck around with that circle too much. And then you just want to take, and you want that straight so that you can wrap the scarf around it and choke a bitch out. You can take it off of the bell pliers at this point and hold it. With your pliers, and then you literally just choke it out. That's good. Bring it to the back, and then you're going to snippy snip snip like that, hand over so that little piece doesn't go on the floor to join with all of the 80,000 jump rings, head pins, earring findings, and God knows what else that I've dumped on the floor that I have to clean up after this video. If it gets wonky, you know what? It can be fixed. And honestly, if you're making something for somebody and they think that the circle is not perfect and therefore it's shit, tell them to kiss your ass, because they don't deserve what you have slaved over and cussed at. I'm just here to say. Go ahead and push in the end to secure that. Make it flush. And motherfucker. And like I said before, if you run your finger across it and it's sharp, even after you've got it as down as far as you can get it, then go ahead and use a little nail file on it. Okay, so that is what we're going to be hooking our hook into, is this thing right here. Now, so you can hook it to your bracelet, we need to make another loop. And just like with the shepherd's hook, You want it to be going this way, not this way. So we are going to, and you can get pretty close, but we're going to make a right angle bend on our pliers. We are going to take, and depending on, like I said, how many strands, if you're just doing one strand, you can use the small ones. Whichever one you're bending over needs to be on top. So we'll do that. Get as close to that. Now sometimes, you know, depending on how big your bend is, it's hard to get in there, but get as close in there as you can. And then you're gonna bend it towards you. When it gets too close, just flip it around. And you want to get it in scarf position so you can choke a bitch out. And is that perfectly straight? Absolutely not. Do I care? Also, absolutely not at this point. Okay, so you can take it off of there. I'm gonna hold it with these little guys, and you're just going to wrap the remaining wire. And there's no, I mean, it really just comes with time and sleep. As far as making sure you have enough wire to do your wraps. That looks like shit. Anyway, you can kind of, ouch, squish them together. Don't squish your fingers, because that's no good. Especially when you have to type for 8 hours tomorrow. And you can straighten, and this is also where I would be hammering to work harden this. I would mainly focus on this one, but also I would hammer this one. You don't really want to hammer this. I mean, you can, but it'll flatten them. It's personal preference. And then on this, I would hammer that part and that part. But there you go. You have your shepherd's hook. You have some version of an S hook. And the reason why this is good for left-handers is because you would need to make 2 of these, 1 for each end, but then they can clasp, you know, whichever side of the bracelet they wanted to clasp. And it still lays flat like that. And then you've got your ball and peen for the multi-strands. Woohoo. And you can make that smaller too. Yeah. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. This is Auntie Keek saying good night and happy crafting and shit. And I think that's all I needed to do. Yep. All right. See ya.